So the sacred truth, your individual awakening is never just yours. It ripples through the collective field, serving all cells. Morphic field and critical mass. The tipping point principle. Systems theory shows you don't need everyone to change for system transformation. You need critical mass, typically 10 to 25% of the population. Welcome, Spowells. So this is what we're working on right now. We're working to get 10 to 25% of the population, whatever that tipping point is, which we don't know exactly yet, to be awakened operators and connected back up to the body of Christ. And then it'll just create a cascade through the whole rest of the system. And then everyone else will wake up and join in, become online. Applied to the body of Christ, we don't need 8 billion awakened operators for heaven on earth. We need critical mass. Enough cells operating from divine spark that the collective field tips toward coherence. So the formula is an individual operator reclamation, which would be you doing the work. That creates local field coherence. Then that'll spread to your family. Okay, so yeah, this actually does affect animals. So Spowells is asking, so it also affects animal, non-human, and plant cells. It's just adding panentheism to Christianity. I don't know what panentheism is, so let me look that up real quick. But yes, this will affect the entire field because Gaia is the larger carrier wave that we are attached to right now. That's the shared space that we're in. A doctrine which identifies God with the universe or regards the universe as a manifestation of God. Worship that admits or tolerates all gods. Yes, so to Spowell's question, the true teachings of Christ are what you would call panentheism. The church has twisted it into something else for control and manipulation. Pantheism. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Pantheism. Yes, that is the true teaching of Christ. So Christ just means crystalline. Like crystals are the most structured form of matter in the physical universe. So when they're structured like that, that allows them to transmit the most light. They're not opaque. They're crystal clear. So you're seeing things clearly. You're crystalline. We go from carbon bodies to crystalline bodies because our bodies are electromagnetic conductors. And we're supposed to be operating as superconductors. But with the ego separation identity, Wetiko virus, the belief in separation, that creates a lot of resistance in the system and disconnects the individual avatar or cell of in the body of Christ from the larger body. And then any closed system in the universe seeks entropy. And that's why everyone's experiencing disease and dying and everything, is because they're disconnected and they're identified with the character and the ego and the story and time, instead of realizing that they are a perspective of the entire thing, looking and experiencing through a single perspective, like a character like this one here. Okay, well, so obviously this individual doesn't believe that we're all connected, so he's out. That's fine. We can bring everyone online. Like I said, we only need 10 to 25% of the population to restore coherence to this realm. So the tipping point principle, systems, so essentially individual operator reclamation, that creates local field coherence. So then you bring that in your family. And this is all based on physics and laws of thermodynamics. So anyone who is against this essentially would be against like biology and science and physics and all that stuff as well, because this is all backed up by science. This is how biological systems operate, like ants in a colony or bees and any type of thing out in nature. They work as collectives. Humans are the only ones that think that they're separate, and that's what is destroying everything. So local field coherence, that leads to morphic field strengthening, and that leads to critical mass, and then that leads to collective body awakening. And that brings what we call heaven on earth, which is everyone working in cooperation. And there's no disease, pain, suffering, conflict, judgment, or any of that kind of stuff. And then ultimately no death, physical death. So your contribution, every time you recognize you're the listener, not the voice, operate avatar from divine spark, not ego, and serve collective, not just the self, you maintain coherence, not chaos. So you are contributing to critical mass. You are literally helping tip the system toward collective awakening. This is not metaphor. This is measurable, evidence-based reality about how complex systems transform. And again, this is not something that you do from like thought and ration and logic and all that stuff. You have to step back and realize that you are the listener and the operator of the avatar. You're not the voice or the thinker inside of the body. So yeah, this is not something that you'll ever, it's hard to say about whether you'll ever wrap your mind around it.